Hello, and welcome to Fayfinders, a Dungeons and Dragons podcast, navigating listeners into the vague and supernatural. My name is Kai, and I will be your dungeon master for campaign Amnesia. And with me, I have the amazing Amancio.
Hello, and welcome to the nighttime area.
The joyous Jupiter.
Good evening.
The kind Caitlin.
Hello. Welcome.
And last but not least, the stupendous Sam.
Hello, and prepare to get ominous.
Now, with that said, let's see what we can remember. Oh god, that was painful. All right.
Sounded like almost like robotic, like Siri, but after dark.
Yeah, seriously.
Seriously?
Siri, go into after dark mode.
Hello, I am Siri in After Dark mode.
Hey Siri,
go like
cue
this.
the ominous music.
Oh wait, hold on. Cue ominous music playing on Spotify.
Oh my god, I'm gonna cry.
Okay. I'm gonna hate editing this freaking episode.
No, it's gonna be amazing.
It's gonna be so good.
Keep
The
all
trailer
the
is gonna
stuff
be
for the bloopers.
Yeah, seriously, the trailer's just gonna be all the bloopers. It's fine.
I love that. I think we should.
And then they're gonna
do blooper
listen to the
episodes.
episode. Yeah, and then they're gonna listen to the actual episode and be like, "The fuck."
This is false advertising.
Yeah, seriously. All right. So to quickly recap last session, while you guys were all still asleep, Nisha's late sister visited Solene in her dreams with a message that while she did not trust Nia, she desperately needed to get Nisha back to Vestierg Island in order to complete her rite of passage, in order to awaken her fragment. Going based on that information, you guys said your goodbyes and asked around as to how to get over to said island. Met with a little bit of resistance as the people of Vestierg, specifically the core, were a little bit more secluded and preferred it that way. You were able to at least get a direction of getting on a ship and sailing 3 days from the north of the Miradon continent to the island. After asking Mila a few very, very well thought questions. You were able to teleport to the Port Kiljar, where you were able to procure a ship. And that is where we left you last time. So, you guys are all on the docks. You guys all ended on the ship itself. It was about to set sail. A couple of you had gone down to the underneath, where you guys kind of found your hammocks that were set up with the rest of the crew that you'd be able to stay in. And Solene, you had stayed up on the top deck, looking into the water.
Yes, I am at the bow.
All right. So, it is roughly I'd say it's about early afternoon at this point. You guys left pretty early after breakfast from the keep, and having been able to teleport, it did not take you as long as it should have.
What can I say except you're welcome?
Not salty. Anyways, it's fine. I'll get back at you.
Oh,
I'm the
sure.
DM after all.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Storm clouds start going over Kai's laughter. Post-production edit.
Yeah. So you guys are kind of waiting around as the crew makes way to sail. They start unfurling the why am I blanking on frickin' words today? Unfurling the sails, as well as kind of pulling in the ropes, and everybody starts taking their stations. After a little bit, they are able to pull away from the docks, and you guys are now underway, on your way over to Vestierg Island. Is there anything you guys would like to do or explore or look around, ask around even? Quite a bit of the crew is going about their business, kind of doing their thing, making sure that everything is shipshape, as they say. But there is a few crew members that have kind of taken, their or not left their positions in order to kind of relax for a little bit, as they're not needed at this time.
I think Nisha. Nisha would approach Solene on the bow of the ship and place her hand on Solene's shoulder and just kind of lean in, and in a hushed tone, just kind of say, "I'm sorry about earlier where I tried to derail us coming here. I just don't have a good feeling about what we're going to find at my home."
Don't feel the need to apologize at all, Nisha. I am sorry that this is going to be troubling for you, but know that I'm here to support you in any way I can. No matter what we find over there, we'll get your fragment and we will be successful.
I appreciate your solidarity. Thank you.
Of course. And I'm, again, sorry about your sister. I don't know what trial she faced or what you are meant to face now, but whatever it is, we'll make sure you get through it.
I have to. This all depends on us.
It does. Unfortunately, it does. But we will take it all in stride.
So, I'm thinking, because I now, well, I shouldn't say now, because I look like the core, perhaps it's time for the rest of our party to ask strategic questions about what lies ahead, without me looking completely spacey.
That would be appropriate, I think, yes. If you're supposed to already know about what lies ahead, then I think, yes, we can take up that responsibility. Being the true foreigners.
I appreciate that.
Of course. Is there anything particular you would like me to ask?
Let's think. The Corps tend to, from what the captain said, stick to themselves. Perhaps things like, are they an aggressive people? Or should we have our wits about us? Things like that that might help us prepare for what may lay ahead.
Yes, I think that would be very smart. And do they have any relationships with trade, or are they fully self-sufficient? Would it be an alarm for us to be landing on their shores?
Absolutely. Those are all wonderful questions that I think we should at least attempt to address before we arrive.
Absolutely. And we do have 3 days, so lots of time to think if we have any other things that are pressing.
Yes, that is true.
But at least, once we are done there, I can teleport us back to the mainland. Because I have my knowledge of how to get back to Killjar.
Right, the port circly beautiful thing.
Indeed, yes. I'm very pleased about this. Perhaps I might even figure out how to get us closer to the capital.
Well, that would be phenomenal. And
Indeed.
save time.
Yes. Yes. We're going to be great. We're going to stay together and keep our wits about us, and we're going to be phenomenal.
Yes. With that, Nisha kind of takes a few steps ahead and just kind of looks lost in thought.
And I think at that also Soline's going to kind of take one last look into the water to see if she can see her reflection, and just kind of like shake herself out of it a little bit, and kind of loop her arm through Nisha's and say, "Shall we perhaps go look for the captain?"
That sounds like a great starting point.
And she's going to kind of start to lead the two of them to find the captain.
Okay, sounds good. So you guys start making your way across the deck, looking for the gentleman who had taken your money and welcomed you on board. In the meantime, Theron and Nia, are you guys doing anything, or are you just chilling?
I would like to climb the rigging and see what I can see from the crow's nest.
Sure. No one's going to stop you from doing so. So first and foremost, make an acrobatics check.
Absolutely. That is a 6.
A 6. Okay. So this is going to be interesting. You start climbing. Mm-hmm. It takes you a second to kind of find your foothold, but eventually you find something that you think is pretty good, and you start your way up, and you're doing pretty good so far, and then all of a sudden your grip slips. Mm-hmm. And you fall backwards, and for half a second you think, oh no, I'm going overboard. But your foot gets caught in the ropes, and you're just kind of hanging there upside down.
Do we see this?
Yeah, you guys would probably see this.
Oh Nia.
Or no, it's
Nisha. Well, I'm assuming Nia sees this. I don't know. I don't actually know what Nia's up to, but Nisha, Lady Milliot, maybe a little help here.
Of course.
Solene's gonna look over at Nisha and just, like, laugh, just, like, in her hand, like, do a chuckle.
And you watch Nisha's face, like, you can tell she's trying not to crack. Her face is just like, yes, Farron! She goes over to try to untangle him.
Can I help?
Yeah, for sure.
How high
I
up
was gonna
am
say, I'd say you're not very high up. You maybe got 10 feet.
Okay.
Yeah. Nisha, not an issue for you to climb up next to him. Just make a sleight of hand check to see if you can get him untied without throwing him overboard.
Oh boy.
Is it with advantage from assistance?
Are you climbing up with Nisha?
Yeah, I'll climb up and I'll try and help. I'll, like,
Okay,
pull
so
it
then-
so that she can, like, scoot his foot out from the loop.
Okay, so first of all, I will need an acrobatic check from you.
Okay, I don't know what my modifier is. Oh. I might be stuck with him.
Uh-oh.
What's my mod?
0.
Okay, I did worse. I got a 5.
Oh boy.
Nisha, save us! This is so bad. My dress is just flailing around me.
I'm gonna say, so you and Nisha both go over to the side of the ship here where Farron had started climbing. Nisha, no problem. You're easily able to kind of like swing yourself onto the rope rigging that starts its way up the side of the mast there. And you get a couple feet up, and then you kind of look back and you see Solene just like looking around, unable to kind of figure out where to start. And then she like tries to get herself situated on this rope ladder here that goes up, and just instantly falls back down on her ass.
Can I try to throw my knife up there? Can I be like...
Not at me!
Oh my... No. Can I be like... and I'll just sit there and cross my legs and kind of fan out my dress on the ground and say, you know what? I think that I believe in your abilities wholeheartedly. Would you like me to throw you a dagger? Is that going to be helpful? Or is just observing going to be the best thing to do here for you?
Ain't as easy as it looks, huh? Huh?
I never said it was.
Darling, I think from there you should just spot me.
Okay.
The ropes that he's tangled in are very important for the rigging. We should not cut them.
Okay. I will sit here, and if you fall, I will catch you with magic.
Appreciated.
Yep. No problem.
Nisha, for her sleight of hand, rolled a 16, but I also don't know my modifier.
Okay. So your sleight of hand modifier is going to be a 2.
Okay. So for a total of 18.
Perfect. All right. Yeah. So not a problem. You make your way up. You kind of get to beside Farron there, and you easily just kind of look at the way his foot is tangled up in the ropes, and easy enough, you kind of untwist it just enough that he can kind of slip it out and catch himself. And now you two are both hanging on the side of the ship here as most of the crew looks on, laughing. And you can see a couple have started passing coin as they take bets on who's going to fall.
I'm just sitting there, like, pretending The imagery is as if I have a cup of tea with a saucer, and I'm sitting there trying to maintain my dignity as I'm sitting there having fell on my butt.
And Nia at some point during this, came up looking for her companions and is now standing with the crew, just kind of observing.
All right. Farron, are you going to try and continue your way up?
Yeah, I'm feeling confident.
Okay, make another acrobatics check then.
That is a 19 this time.
Okay.
It was bad luck, I swear.
Worse.
Slippery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, those bottom
All
ropes,
right.
they're so close to the ocean, they get wet, and I wasn't expecting it, so I slipped, but now it's fine.
All right. So after the whole display, you kind of take your time to ease yourself up, but you make it without a problem. You are now in the crow's nest. There is no one else here. The other gentleman who had recently been up here had retired down to the brig for a moment. So you are on your own unless Nisha wants to join you.
I feel like it's not safe to leave him on his own. Nisha's going to follow up behind.
The buddy system, y'all. The buddy system.
We don't
All
split
right.
the party.
Okay, sounds good. So you make it up to the crow's nest next to Farron. Farron, you had wanted to take a look out over the ocean. So go ahead and make a perception check.
Absolutely. That is a... if you give me a moment here.
Mm-hmm.
That's a 19 as well.
19. Okay. Sounds good. So from what you can see all the way up here, you can still see Kiljar Port. You guys haven't gotten out of sight of land yet. But you are certainly making pretty good pace, despite the larger size of the ship. You can definitely tell that it is a cargo or a transport ship, not necessarily one built for speed. Mm-hmm. But despite the fact the wind has been pretty well in your favor, as far as ahead of you guys, there isn't too much. You think there may possibly be what looks like land just to your left, but it's really far, and it's hard to make out how big it is, or if it is even land. It almost kind of it's where it blends into the water but doesn't look a part of the water, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah. But otherwise, there isn't too much. The ocean is pretty calm, considering all things. It is a little bit chilly up here, despite the time of day. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, it's pretty much just empty water.
Well, I'm taking in the view, I guess, while I wait for Nisha to finish climbing up after me.
Oh.
I meant the ocean.
I meant
It's gonna be the joke of the
climbing up
campaign
after.
is accidentally linking Farron with everyone else.
You're already betrothed, Farron.
Nia wants no part of that.
Wait, is this
We have
the
already
ship?
spoken.
This is the ship. Oh my god! Do you call out?
no.
Do you call that?
Yeah. I lean down to Celine. Wait! Celine, is this the ship you were referencing?
Yes, Nisha! This was exactly the ship! I'm so glad we found it so early!
Oh my god.
We did it! We've accomplished our goals! We're on the ship and it's sailing!
Oh. Oh my god.
That's going in the trailer. Sorry, Mark.
Nisha then stands next to Farron. So, Farron, what do you think of this ship?
Well, I can't say I remember being on many before, but I suppose it could be worse.
There is a lot of ocean out there. Does that make you uncomfortable?
Well, DM,
Yes.
having gotten my memories back, at least in large part, how many times have I been on the ocean or around the ocean? There's no way that in 200 odd years of life, almost 300, that I haven't seen the ocean before, right?
No, so for most of your life, you actually lived at the keep. So you were pretty close to the ocean, so you are familiar with it. A lot of the natural resources that were harvested for the keep itself came from the ocean, such as fish, shells, any kind of seaweed and stuff like that to weave into baskets and things. Anything that wasn't easily accessible from around the forest. You just have never been on a ship and have never sailed.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's my first time being out on it. There is a lot more of it than I guess I had seen before, but I mean, it's a lot more beautiful than seeing it on a map. I can say that. And yourself, are you finding that you're taking to the ship nicely? I know people talk about sea legs. See, that's actually why I slipped on those ropes down there. Thank you, by the way. Thank you for helping me out. Didn't want to be left hanging for too long, but you see, I was, the boat it rocks, and I wasn't expecting it, and so I was fine after, but just had to get my bearings.
Nisha just studies Farron's face for a moment.
Farron just beat red.
Of course, Farron. Of course, that's sea legs. Not a term I remember, but it does move the ship. Well, we'll have to make sure that we're both careful on the way down then.
Yeah, of course. We'll have to stick close.
Oh, I mentioned this to Celine, but since there's no crew up here, I'll mention it to you as well. Since we are heading to Vesturge, and I am technically of this place, I don't think it's quite appropriate if I ask the crew too many prying questions about what to expect when we get there. But I think it's important that we have an idea of what we're going into.
I see, and I kind of rub my nose. So you want me to, the rest of us, that is, to ask around and see what we can figure out about where it is you come from?
A little bit. I fear about us being blindsided a little bit.
Absolutely, I understand. And, we don't have a guide bringing us there this time, so it's up to us to kind of scope out the situation for ourselves. Right. Well, I mean, what do you think is important to know from when we get there? I know it's mountainous, and that's about it. So,
Well, the captain had mentioned that people don't really go there, so I fear a tiny bit hostility might be an issue if we just arrive and visitors aren't terribly expected.
Sort of dealt with the similar situation back at the keep there.
That's true.
So I know it's nothing that we won't be able to handle, but you're right. Knowing what we're getting ourselves into is better than being, well, blindsided, like you said.
But you're right, our group's no stranger to hostility.
Yeah, we can take a few dirty looks. We can take a few curses thrown our way. Just water off a duck's back.
Indeed. Well, should we go rejoin everyone?
Sure. I don't see why not. I don't know what I thought I would see up here. I guess I didn't really expect to be able to see our destination already. But no monsters, no great ocean beasts, no whales, no dolphins.
Perhaps tomorrow.
Yeah, perhaps. How about we head down?
Sounds good.
All right. So, I'll say you guys easily make your way down.
Thank you.
I'm not gonna make you roll for it, although it would be fun. But yeah, you guys make your way down. Farron taking a little bit longer than Nisha, but you are back on solid ground, and you can see a few sailors who are kind of like passing coins, like trying to be sneaky about it, and a few unhappy faces. But regardless, everybody kind of starts going about their day and goes back to their posts.
Nisha, seeing the coins pass around, kind of mutters, "So what's my take in all of this?" And then just kind of gives a little bit of a smile and walks back over to Celine.
I don't think we get one, Nisha.
Oh, but if they're profiting off of your misery, I feel like we deserve a little bit of it.
No, we paid for this opportunity to be their entertainment.
Celine's still just sitting cross-legged at the bottom of the ropes.
After the crew had dispersed, Nia walks over and offers a hand to Celine to help her up.
Oh dear, I don't need assistance. I'm just, I'm trying to maintain my dignity. How about you join me? Okay. And she takes the hand and is lifted. And she kind of roughs her skirts down. Thank you, Nia.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine I am a creature of much more grace than what I just demonstrated.
Well, it could really happen to anyone, as Farron also so wonderfully demonstrated just a bit ago.
Indeed.
Hey, I told you it was sea legs. See, the boat's moving. I've never been on a boat before.
Of course.
Sea legs.
And
Indeed.
she's just kind of smirking at you.
Well, perhaps we should go find the captain.
Yes, let's do that.
And she's gonna kind of like whisper over to Nia, "We have some very important questions that we must ask him before we dock and prepare ourselves for the next leg of our journey."
Oh. Okay, well then, I guess we better find him.
Indeed. She's gonna link arms with you as everyone's starting to walk to probably the captain's quarters. if we know where that is?
Yeah, so it is easy enough to find. I mean, it is kind of ostentatious at this point. It is straight ahead. So you guys make your way over. The door is closed. Are you guys going to knock, or are you just going to walk in?
Yes, I'm going to do a doot.
All right. So from behind the door, you kind of hear a bit of shuffling. You hear something crash. Shit, fuck. And you wait a couple seconds, and then finally the door opens, and the captain is looking at all of you. Well, what's all this now?
Oh, we would just like a private audience to ask you some questions about our final destination.
Some questions, huh?
Yes. Some inquiries, if you will.
You see him kind of look over all your shoulders at the rest of the crew for a moment. And then he sighs and waves you inside and waits for all of you to file in before closing the door behind you. Going over to take his seat, he kind of puts his feet up on the desk. And you can see in the room here, it's simply decorated, but what is here is extremely lavish. So like instead of like a hammock, he has like an actual physical bed with beautiful silk sheets. The desk itself is made of mahogany. And then you can see a few what look like books lining the other side of the room in a bit of like a built-in bookcase into the wall there.
Thank you so much for your hospitality.
Yeah, all right. So what do you want to know?
Well, first, do you perchance know if there is trade organized between the port, Kiljar, and can never say this name? Where we're going? Estirge?
Vestirge Island?
Vestirge, yes. Is there trade between Kiljar and Vestirge Island?
There is, yeah. That's what I mainly do.
So it's not going to be hostile when we land. They're going to be expecting traversers of the island.
Well, that really depends. How far are you guys planning on going on the island? Because if you're just going to Zeltarki, then there'll be no problems at all. But any further, you might run into some.
What kind of trouble do you think that we should expect if we were to venture further?
You see him kind of cross his arms over his chest and look at Nisha before back at you, Soline. I don't know. It's hard to say with your friend there. Could be a lot of trouble, could be none. The tribes on the island are very strange. They like to keep to themselves. They have their own traditions. And quite frankly, I haven't really bothered to really find out myself.
I see. And she kind of looks over at the rest of you guys like, that's all I got. What do you guys got?
Are there any plants in the captain's quarters?
No. There are no plants.
Okay. All right. You travel to Vestirge often?
Every week.
Right, just ferrying cargo back and forth?
Pretty much, yeah. Seen quite a bit come and go.
I can imagine.
What's it to you?
Oh, I'm just wondering. I was under the impression that it's not a very well-traveled route, but I guess someone's got to help goods get to and fro.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Niev Mountains are where we get all our ore. Gold, silver, iron. So, there gotta be something to get it back and forth, right?
And sorry, excuse me for asking. You know, I'm from the keep. I don't get out much. What is Kiljar? What is the mainland sort of offer in return for all that gold and silver?
Mostly supplies, medicines, silks, other things.
Oh, and they can't.
Vashtirg is a little bit more barren.
Right. So they can't sort that stuff out for themselves.
No, not really.
Wow.
Although they got this really pretty tree that grows only there. Got some beautiful wood out of it. Never will trade it though.
Yeah, what kind of tree is that?
I'm not too sure on what they call it, but we call it the blue tier. And it's a beautiful aqua blue color when you cut into it.
Wow. Gee Willikers, I gotta see that for myself. You know, I'm quite a big fan of trees. So that blue tier really sounds like something quite special.
It sure is worth a fortune if you can get your hands on it, but no one's been able to do so yet, so good luck.
And why not?
It's sacred to the core, from my understanding.
Right. But you said you got your hands on some and worked it?
No, never. I've only ever seen it.
Ah, I see.
As they're kind of like having this exchange, can I be like going over to the bookcase and just peering at the titles?
Yeah. If you want to, you can definitely do that. The books themselves don't have any titles on the spines. They kind of look very similar to the ledgers that you guys found when you first ported in. So you get the sense that there's something like that. A lot of the papers are actually pretty loose. They're not like nicely bound to the outside of the books themselves. So they look pretty haphazard.
Is there any books on the shelf that look like they aren't just like record keeping, like personal journals kinds of thing? Is there any like books?
Make an investigation check.
I shall, and I shall do better than a 5 this time, I sure hope. I did better than a 5, but 10?
10. Okay. You are kind of skimming over them as Farron is chatting with the captain here. You are kind of keeping an eye out for anything that kind of stands out from the rest, and nothing really catches your eye.
Okay. Then I'm just gonna keep looking at his office. Just perusing the things, like if there's any trinkets, just kind of like browsing the space.
Okay. So, you got any more questions for me, or is that all?
I mean, I just want to learn more about this blue tier, but I suppose I'll have to go try and see it for myself. Does it grow kind of close to where we're talking, or do we have to go further inland?
Oh no, it only grows alongside the Niev Mountains, so you gotta go way inland.
Jeez, I figured. Well, thanks for the tip. Much appreciated.
Of course. And if you do get your hands on it, you be sure to let me know. I'll pay a nice price for it.
Right. Is there anything that looks very, very valuable here? I know there's lots. I know there's lots of things. But what's the shiniest, most valuable looking thing?
So there are a few things. In the back corner, alongside the bookshelf, you do see quite a large trunk with a lock on it. On the desk in front of you guys that he has his feet rested on, you do see what looks to be a beautifully decorated and designed gold quill. You also do see a rather very expensive looking spyglass or telescope, if that's what you want to call it. And just to the left of you guys near the bed, there is what looks to be a very large globe depicting Jatalu itself. And right behind it looks to be a statue. Of what, you're not 100% sure, but it does look familiar.
Does it now?
Yeah.
Does it now?
Yeah, it's very familiar.
Okay.
And is the captain wearing any fancy jewelry?
The captain himself, other than a ring, is not wearing any fancy jewelry that you can see.
How close am I to his ring?
Well, he's got his hands crossed against his chest. So if you're standing, like if he's leaned back with his feet up on the desk and you're standing on the other side of it, you're probably about, I'd say 5 feet.
Okay, cool. That's all.
All right.
Captain, may I ask one more question?
Yeah.
Do you perhaps trade in any magic books, spells, teleportation circle?
Nah, don't really tend to deal much with magic. Don't like it. Think it's, well, quite frankly, I think it's unnatural.
I see.
Oh,
sorry.
But it does fetch a very, very nice price sometimes. So I have seen a few magic things come by my way, but nothing recently, no.
What a very interesting statue you have over here. It's quite unique.
Oh, that? Yeah. Nobody wanted it. Figured I'd keep it for myself.
I'm gonna go and place a hand on the top of its head.
Okay. It's cool to the touch, but otherwise it's just a statue.
I pretend to, wipe some dust off of it. Oh, well, it's quite lovely.
Thanks, I guess. Why, you got an interest in IS?
Just in scholarly interests, not personal.
I see. Well, if that's all, I do have business to get back to now.
Of course, we've taken up enough of your time, but, if we should require your services any further for anything, will you be at our disposal?
If I ain't busy,
Absolutely.
I guess.
Of course. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Right. Are you guys heading straight out, or?
Yes, I will, and I want to do an insight to see if I, as Celine, remember this statue.
Okay. Make a history check.
Oh, history. Okay. I don't have my history.
Oh.
So I got a 12 plus...
History is going to be +1 to
so
13. Yeah. So you're kind of looking over the statue. It looks familiar. You might have seen it somewhere. Not 100% sure why it feels familiar. But nothing is coming to mind.
Okay. Then I just continue to evacuate this space.
Okay. Everybody else following?
Yeah, Nisha follows behind.
Mm-hmm. Right behind.
Okay. Sounds good. So you guys all follow or make your way out. The ship is starting to, as far as the crew members go, is starting to calm down a little bit now that you guys are pretty far underway and the wind is doing most of the work. There isn't so much need for the crew to be running around doing a whole bunch of different things. So most of them have either started to just kind of like do routine cleaning or have retired underneath. What would you guys like to do?
I will kind of like lean over to Nisha and just say like, was that good? Is that all the questions that you wanted answered?
I think those were all really reasonable questions to have answered. Nothing springs to mind as far as preparing ourselves more, other than once we leave the port city that it might be more hostile.
Well, he did say he was at our disposal should he not be busy, so we can always think about it. Ruminate, perhaps.
Absolutely. Saltara Key. Or I wish I could just picture it.
Perhaps maybe we should meditate.
That might be an option now that I've got like a few names. Maybe if I think about them.
Perhaps, maybe you might even remember the tree. I have a feeling that it might be important. If it's such a sacred part of the island, perhaps it's also part of the ritual that you must invoke?
Perhaps. I think it would be best that I think on these things then.
Yes.
But if you need me, you can come collect me.
Of course. I'm going to put my hand on Nisha's shoulder.
Nisha gives like an affectionate nod and then makes her way towards heading downstairs.
Okay. So you head downstairs underneath the deck here. It is quite lively, at least in the immediate vicinity. It looks like right at the end of the stairs here is kind of more of like a mess hall kind of idea where you've got a little kitchen, like, yeah, as best as a kitchen as you could make on a ship, at least, at the back there. And then there's quite a few tables with the crew situated around. They're either playing cards, playing dice. There's even a chess game going on. And then if you swing around the stairs and head the other way, the opposite direction, that's where the hammocks are. And it's kind of separated by a curtain.
I want to play chess. I'm going to walk up to the sailors playing chess and say, I would love to participate in the next round.
You, lass? Really?
Yes, of course.
Well, alright. But, all games are bets only. 5 gold to pay in.
Then it is 5 gold?
Yep. And, you can see the gentleman kind of look at the one that he's playing against and shake his head, to shove over. And he starts resetting the pieces on the board there, and nods for you to sit down.
I do, and I flare my skirt out, and I sit as daintily as possible, and I inspect the pieces. These are quite lovely.
Better be. I paid a nice price for them, that's for sure. But, you first, lass.
All right. And I begin to move my pawn to king 3.
All right. So,
I don't know if that's right.
No, not at all.
Okay.
But that's fine.
I was saying it with such confidence.
All good. I love the confidence. I love the the robust composure here. All right, as Soline makes her move against this gentleman here, anyone else kind of coming down and scoping out, or are you guys kind of keeping to yourself?
I'm going to sit by the bow of the ship, and I'm going to do my little 4-hour meditation.
Okay. Nia?
Nia stayed up on the deck and is just kind of watching the horizon, looking at the water, just kind of taking in the scenery, and like sound of waves just kind of calms her, so she's feeling pretty content up there.
All right, sounds good. So, Nisha, where are you headed?
Nisha would try to tuck herself in the quietest corner possible. And then once she kind of found her quiet place, I feel like she'd sit there, her legs folded, and she'd place her katana across her lap and just kind of go over these new places, her homeland, and kind of see if anything jumps to mind.
Okay. Roll just a straight intelligence check.
Okay. Straight intelligence, 15.
15. Okay. So, the places sound familiar, or at least they feel familiar when you hear them. You do recognize the name Zeltaraki as the kind of the main trade hub, port town of Veshtirg Island. If foreigners ever come to the island, it's really only to visit that town specifically. No one ventures further out. But for some reason, that's not the name that sticks. Even the blue tier, the wood that the captain had mentioned, kind of just falls to the wayside. But for some reason, the name Zaham keeps coming up over and over again. Anytime you try to think of something else, it just goes back to Zaham. You try to focus in on the mountains, and it goes back to Zaham. And you're not quite sure why or where it comes from. But that's the only thing that really kind of just sticks.
And as Zaham keeps coming forward to my mind, can I try to focus in on just that, not letting my mind wander, not trying to think about the mountains or Vestige Island as a whole, just Zaham? What does that mean?
So the more you try to focus in on it, the more things become a little muddled. And you try to push past it, and you try to really kind of just grab hold of whatever that name is, whatever that name means to you, why it keeps coming up over and over and over again, despite, as far as you're aware, never hearing it. And suddenly you're back on that shore, sitting next to your sister. And you see her climb a mountainside, and you see her fall and be swallowed by the ocean. And that's really all you kind of get.
Do I get the sinking feeling that that's the trial I'm going to have to face as well? Climbing this mountain?
It's certainly a possibility.
Can I try to call out to Deirdre in my mind?
Mm-hmm. You can. Are you just calling her name, or are you trying to say something specific or ask her something?
So, in her mind, I think Nisha would call out, Deirdre, it's me. I learned your name from Solene. You visited her and imparted wisdom. Please, I need your guidance.
Nia, roll a perception check for me.
Me?
Yep.
What?
Natural 20 for a 23.
Natural 20. Okay. Nia pulling through. Nia pulling through. Oh, man. All right. Sounds good. So, Nia, as you are standing up on the deck, kind of looking out over the ocean and everything that is available to look over, something moving catches the corner of your eye. Not a crew member, something different. And you turn and you see Nisha. But it's not Nisha. She's taller, a little bit older. And she stops and looks at you, and then starts to walk downstairs.
I will follow her.
Okay, so you follow her. She, as you get to the top of the stairs, you see that she had kind of waited at the bottom of the stairs for a moment. And as soon as she noticed that you were indeed following her, she turns the corner and starts heading towards the back of the ship.
I keep following, being like cautious, but still following.
Okay. So as you follow her, eventually she comes to stop in front of a tattered, kind of worn out curtain. And then she disappears.
Disappears when she's standing in front of the curtain.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. I kind of like. He kind of like reaches inside herself. She's kind of like finding that kind of like little kernel of power that she's kind of sensed before, and she kind of thinks at the curtain and tries to see if there's anything weird about it.
Okay. So you take a moment to kind of calm yourself. You know that Deirdre is, or no, so sorry, Solene didn't tell you. She only told Nisha, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So you're not 100% sure exactly what you saw. As far as you're concerned, it possibly was an older Nisha. But it felt off. So as you're sitting there trying to calm yourself, you're searching for whatever kind of like connection or power that you have or that you've felt before. And for a moment, all the noise fades away. And then something kind of clicks. And you open your eyes. And again, standing before you is this older looking Nisha. Tell Nisha that I'll be watching her. And she kind of goes behind the curtain.
Wait, who? I'm gonna reach out and move the curtain.
Okay. So you reach out, you move the curtain, and you find yourself in the back room where all the hammocks have been set up. And in the corner, you see Nisha sitting, kind of meditating with her eyes closed. And standing beside her is a very, very similar copy, the one that you had followed down here. And she's looking at you with a grim face. And then she looks down at Nisha. Are you going to say anything to her?
Do you know what's going to happen?
I don't. I do know what could happen.
Nisha, in her meditative state, does she perceive that maybe not Deirdre, but can she feel Nia enter the space?
Well, you would have heard Nia ask the question.
So Nisha would open her eyes. Oh, sorry. Nia, what was that? I wasn't paying attention.
Is Deidre still standing by Nisha now that she's not meditating anymore?
Yep, she's still standing there.
I just kind of like look at Nisha and then look back at Deidre. Nisha, can you see? And I kind of point to where she's standing.
Nisha's gaze follows where Nia's pointing.
You don't see anything.
I'm sorry, Nia. What are you making reference to? The hammocks?
It's someone who looks very much like you, but I don't think it's you.
Looks like me, but isn't me?
You but older?
Deirdre? Deirdre, did you hear me? Are you here with us? But Nia, how?
Maybe it's like how I saw those things at the dinner, the dining hall, back at the keep.
Can you speak to her?
Yes, she told me to tell you that she'd be watching you.
She's watching. Oh, Deirdre, can you give us a hint about what I'm to do?
Deirdre kind of smiles softly as she looks down at Nisha, and then it's almost like she's reluctant, but she looks back up at you, Nia. Unfortunately, the rite of passage is specific to any who choose to take it. Mine was to reach the top of the Niev Mountains. I do not know if it will be the same for Nisha. But if it is, well, I know she'll pass it with flying colors. She was always a good climber.
She says that the rite of passage is specific to each person, but that hers was to climb to the top of the Niev Mountains. She doesn't know if it will be the same for you, but she thinks that if it is, you'll pass with flying colors because you've always been a good climber.
Upon hearing Nia say that, Nisha would kind of like shift her position slightly on the floor and kind of stare into the blank space where she had seen Nia point. I have so many questions, and I feel like this is not the time nor the place, but I appreciate you coming when I called. Is there any advice you would give me?
Deirdre, you can see she is almost at war with herself, but she kind of crouches down in front of Nisha and places a hand on her cheek. And Nisha, you feel a slight tingle where the hand is for just a moment. Don't let anyone dictate who you are. Find your own path and be sure of it. And then she fades and is gone.
I relay what DJ said. The last thing that she said.
Nisha slowly would move her hand and place it over where she felt that tingle on her cheek. And takes a deep breath. Oh, Nia, could you ask her, how am I supposed to find my own path and be sure of it if I'm not even sure of who I am?
I'm sorry, she faded, she's gone.
Oh. Thank you, Nia. I appreciate that.
I wish I could do more, but I don't really understand what is even happening.
Did you bring her to me?
I was just standing on the deck, and out of the corner of my eye saw movement, and at first I thought it was you, and then it wasn't. And I followed, and she brought me to you. So maybe more accurately, she found me so that I could relay the message.
That's amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm glad I could be there to help.
Me too. I felt a little bit silly asking the ether what was going on.
Well, she was there.
Perhaps we should tell the others. Maybe later, once they're done having their fun, but you being able to see someone who's passed, I think, is information into who you are, and we should all be on the same page.
I think you're right. Would you like a moment to yourself? It was probably a lot.
If you don't mind. I'll collect myself and come join you shortly.
Of course. And I'll kind of back out of the room and head back out to the deck, kind of reeling a little bit. She's having a moment.
All right. So, going back to Solene. Roll a d20 and tell me what you get.
Okay. I need to win this. Make back our money from... Okay. 15?
Okay. So, it is a very close battle of wits. And for a moment, you're not quite sure you can win. And then suddenly you're looking at the board and, oh gosh, and you move your knight and checkmate.
Oh! I just kind of, look up from the, my head is bent down to the board, and I just kind of look up through my eyelashes and, say, well, that game was quite riveting. Thank you for playing. And I go and grab the gold and put it into my purse. And I have a very, very, prideful and, coy smile on my face.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good. And the gentleman's still kind of, looking at the board, being like, what the heck? What happened? You could see him, going play by play to make sure, there was no funny business or anything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you've won that game. You gain your 5 gold back, plus the 5 gold he put in.
Yeah. And I think I'm gonna head back up to the bow and eat a ration.
Okay. Farron, are you doing anything else?
I'm assuming it hasn't been 4 hours. I'm just meditating.
No.
I'm
all right.
I'm resting.
You're doing your meditation.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll sit beside Farron as he meditates and just kind of eat and look out at the horizon.
All right. Sounds good. So for the sake of brevity, we will just say the rest of the day goes by without a hitch. Night falls. The ship does kind of start to slow a little bit as far as its pace of travel, but it is still making pretty good distance with the wind at the back of the sails there. Stars are easily seen. It's almost eerie how many stars are in the sky. But it's quiet.
What is the phase of... Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
What is the phase of the moon right now?
So right now, currently, the phase of the moon is... Sorry, I just got to double check here. It's about a 3/4 wane.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
May I cast Locate Object?
Yes, you may.
I'd like to cast Locate Object on the captain's ring.
The captain's ring.
Yes.
Okay. So you cast the spell and you get a ping within his quarters. Mm-hmm. From what you gather, he is asleep in his bed.
Ah, darn. Okay.
I'm gonna kind of jingle my coins to Farron and say, as you are so eager to gain more coin, and I have just won an extra 5 gold, perhaps you might take up a game of chess. It's quite lucrative.
Chess?
Indeed.
You know, the thing with chess is it's all up to chance, really. There's no skill involved in that.
That's entirely false.
Now, you know, the reacquisition of one's goods. Now that's a skillful endeavor. That's something that requires forethought. It requires planning, strategy. Chess is rigged. I've never won a game of chess in my whole life.
Perhaps I can teach you. But if you are looking at reacquisition, I wouldn't mind a sapphire if you should find one.
Yeah, well, the problem is the captain, you know, he doesn't really do a lot around here. He just kind of sits in his room all day.
Perhaps we need a distraction?
Perhaps. Why, perhaps we do.
Are we going on a side quest, Farron?
Well, you see, Milliot, I'm thinking that maybe there is something we can do.
I'm all ears.
Let me see. I need to clarify what Windwall does.
I can also turn invisible and pass without trace.
Yes. But I'm thinking something that will get the captain out of his quarters.
What do you have in mind?
I was thinking I could get some wind blowing counter to the sails, and then the boat would be dead in the water, and the captain would come out and be trying to fix it, but I don't know if it's worth the hassle.
Perhaps not if it's going to lengthen our journey. We are on a bit of a schedule. But
do any
perhaps...
of the... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, perhaps a minor illusion? Perhaps if there was to be a gigantic tentacle crawling up the side of the ship, wouldn't he want to know?
Even out on the horizon where, you know, they can't try and touch it?
True.
I've seen enough hentai to know where this is going.
That's not where this is going!
Do any of the...
I'm thinking more Kraken from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Okay. Yeah.
That's where I was going.
The rated X version of Fayfinders.
We're doing an adult Fayfinders coming next season.
Fayfinders After Dark.
Cut out.
That's Fayfinders After Dark.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah, hi, this is Ashley. I'm editing this episode. Absolutely not. Over my dead body. There is no Fayfinders After Dark. We try to be PG, but we don't succeed in the swearing. That's it. That is our rating. PG, but not succeeding in the swearing. That's it.
Okay. Can I? Oh shit. Can I see if I can muster an illusion on the horizon that is close enough that it can be visible and like be seen as a threat, but far enough away that nobody will be able to actually like touch it or verify its tangibility.
Okay. Make an Arcana check.
Okay. That is a 10.
A 10.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, I'm gonna say that you can certainly do so. So you kind of focus in. You're trying to create like a kraken tentacle almost coming out of the water.
Yeah. So I have
Okay.
minor illusion. That is a confirmed spell that I have.
Mm-hmm. You do.
Is it a nighttime cycle thing?
It is.
Okay. Okay. Wait, what did I say it was right now? Is it a crescent? I can't remember. It's not full.
You had chosen the crescent moon.
Okay. So okay, beautiful.
So basically, while you are trying to focus in on creating that illusion, you reach for the small bit of magic that you know it takes in order to do something, minor, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And you find yourself almost giving up more magic than you had expected.
Oh.
But nonetheless, a giant tentacle emerges from the water, 20 feet in the air, about 100 feet off the ship.
Whoa. I'm gonna scream like bloody murder. And point.
Okay.
And point. And then I'm going to, like, wink at Farron really quick as if to say, like, this is the distraction. And just start being like, ah! There's a tentacle! Kraken!
Okay. So some of the crew members do storm upstairs to the deck in order to find out what all the commotion is about. Quite a few of them are instantly like, man the sails, let's go, and they're like just instantly alive, like going to their stations and trying to get the sails repositioned to catch the wind a little bit better. And somebody is like banging up against the captain's door, being like, Captain, we got a kraken off starboard.
As I see someone banging on the captain's door, I cast Pass Without Trace on myself.
Okay, sounds good. So you see the captain whip open the door, and he's kind of looking around a little bit like dazed, as though he had like just been woken up. Mm-hmm. And he's like looking, and he sees this giant tentacle, and he kind of looks at it for a moment, and for a second it almost looks like he can see through the illusion.
Is he out of his room?
He is out of his room.
Okay, I'm gonna try to sneak into his room.
Okay, make a stealth check.
Okay, that is going to be 28.
Oh!
28. Okay, no problem at all. You are in his room as he kind of like steps out of it and closes the door behind him, essentially closing you in it. And he makes his way over to like the side of the ship and puts his hands against the rails. And you can see him like looking, and he's just like, nah, too small to be a kraken.
What do you think it is?
But that's going to be a mean thing. Maybe a baby kraken? I don't know. Something mean. Either way, we don't want to be here. Let's go. Keep going. If it comes closer, we'll deal with it.
Wow, you're so amazingly knowledgeable. I'm just going to start fanning myself knowing that Farron's inside the captain's quarters. And just be speaking a little bit louder than is necessary, hoping that he can hear me.
He is just sitting there watching. Like, you can see him kind of assessing the situation, kind of seeing if it is something that he, like, really needs to be concerned with. But at the moment, he's not too concerned.
Yeah. And, yeah, Soline's just gonna be like, you're so impressive in your seafaring. I can't even believe you're not frightened in the least of such a beast under the sea.
He's completely ignoring you.
Oh. I tried, guys.
All right. Farron, what are you doing?
Does he have yellow ink on his desk?
He does not have yellow ink, but he does have ink.
Well, that's fine. Can I attempt to pick the lock on the chest?
Sure. Make a sleight of hand check.
Great. That's a 22.
Oh boy. All right.
Get me my sapphire.
What do you find in the chest? Okay. So, in the chest is a bag of gold. Quick glance, like you kind of pick it up, you feel it, jingle it. You're looking at roughly about 230 gold.
All right.
There is also another bag that is filled with all sorts of gems, sapphires, diamonds, emeralds, rubies, opals even. And you're looking at probably about 1,000 gold worth of gems in here of all different sizes. There is also a book. And it is an actual book.
Yeah.
The book itself is it doesn't have, well, it has a title, but it's not something you can read.
Really? So it's not in Celestial, Common, Draconic, Elvish, Primordial, or Sylvan?
Nope.
Okay.
It is not.
Wow, flex!
It is beautiful. It is a pristine white book with embellished gold writing on it in whatever language it is. And it is not super hefty. At a quick glance, it's probably only got about 100 pages to it. But if you open it up and take a look, all of the words are written in gold ink.
Okay. He doesn't have gold ink on his desk either, just to clarify.
No, he does not.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm gonna swipe the book. I'm gonna open the pouches with the gems and the gold. I'm gonna put the gold into my own gold pouch. I'm gonna put the gems into my bag. I'm gonna take out my 2 rations from my bag, and I'm gonna crumble them up, and I'm gonna put one in each bag that used to have the gems and the gold in them. And I'm going to snap some arrowheads off of my arrows as well, and also put those in the bag so they have a bit of a jingle to them and some weight, some heft.
Okay.
And then I'm going to close the chest and relock it.
Okay.
And I'm going to take a close look at that statue.
Okay. Sure. So you head over to the statue. You do recall that the captain had called it by the name of Ayaz. It's not a god that you're familiar with, even with your memories, most of your memories returned. But you do know that there used to be a god that was worshipped by sailors specifically. You can't remember exactly why, but for some reason that god has kind of slipped from existence almost. It's not as heavily like worshipped or mentioned anymore. And that's about all you get. But looking over the statue, it is in the depiction of an older gentleman, wise in his years, probably going on more into the senior years of like a late 60s, early 70s kind of stature, a little bit more wiry and frail, but still has this almost kind of this aura to him that he is a lot stronger than he looks. He does have a beard that does fall down his chest slightly, and his hair is wild, and he does look blind.
Does anything in this room give off a magic aura? And mostly focusing on this statue.
The statue does not.
Okay, and the chest?
The chest does not.
Great.
And the book does.
Okay, that's all I needed to know. Can I try opening the globe to see if there's something inside of it?
Yeah, if you want to.
I'm gonna try to be very gentle. I'll see if it twists, and if it doesn't seem like it twists, like the two hemispheres twist apart, then I'll see if it has a hinge, it would open somewhere.
Okay. I'll say make an investigation check.
Okay, totally fair. That is. Ooh, that's actually a 16.
16. Okay. Yeah. So you're kind of looking along this globe. It is very well built. Even some of the landscape is even embossed and beveled to show different mountain ranges and things like that. You do find a split where the two pieces were placed together. Mm-hmm. And you kind of try to jiggle them, and it doesn't seem like they quite come apart. Either they're glued together or they're not meant to be separated.
Okay.
Anymore.
In that case, with that being that, is there a window to this room?
The only windows are the back windows that look out at the back of the ship.
Is there if I kind of poke my head out of them and look up, is there like a ledge or like a railing that I can see?
There is. Yeah, there's a ledge, probably about a good. Well, I'd say okay. So there's the actual frame of the window itself, which does give you a little bit of like a purchase for a grip.
Oh, Kai,
then...
I'm not gonna try to climb. Not after last time. I'm gonna misty step up to the railing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. Even better. So yes. So you can easily just misty step onto the back of the ship.
And then I'm gonna kind of like sneak my way down with my pass without a trace still on. Kind of sneak my way down into where the hammocks are, and then pretend to be asleep in one of the hammocks.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. So while all that is happening, you, with the captain here, a few of the crew members are kind of like keeping an eye out. You can see a couple of them have gone up to the crow's nest and are kind of watching with spy glasses. And let's see here.
Oh, can I? Sorry. Can I pop?
Oh, I was gonna say. You can keep this image up for up to 10 minutes, so...
Oh, okay. I was gonna ask if I can pop into Farron's mind really quick and be like, yo, you done?
Yeah. Come down and meet me in the hammocks.
Okay. And so, like, knowing that, I'm gonna make the illusion, like, slither its tentacle back under the sea, and disappear.
Okay. All right. So, you do just that. The image following your lead, and you see the captain kind of. He's still very. I wouldn't say suspicious, but almost wary. And he's like looking out over the ocean, and everything goes silent for a little bit, just as everybody almost like holds their breath to see if it's going to come back, if it's going to come closer, like if it has decided to move on. Like, nobody has really kind of noticed the fact that it's an illusion per se. At least nobody's let on that they've noticed it's an illusion. And eventually the captain turns around and is like, well, that's enough excitement for one night. Let's get a move on. And he heads back into his quarters.
Sleep well. Brave captain. I'm gonna, like, walk briskly, but also very, like, nonchalantly and as non-suspicious as I can. I'm gonna go meet Farron in the hammocks.
Okay. Are you bringing anyone with you, or are you just going alone?
Nisha's still down there.
I don't know if Nia would have made it back up to the deck by that point or not.
Well, this is happening like quite a few hours after the whole encounter with Deirdre. This is like more closer towards midnight almost. Whereas like when Deirdre had appeared to you, it was about mid-afternoon.
Oh, okay. So Nia's probably definitely like in her hammock, like either asleep or getting ready to sleep.
Okay. So suddenly Farron is just there. You don't notice him until he kind of like actually moves the hammock. And then shortly after, Celine comes down as well.
Are the hammocks like bunk bed in formation? Like there's a top one and a bottom one, or are they all kind of just like in separate places?
No, they are bunk bed formation. So there is a top one and a bottom one. So the bottom one is just enough that if somebody were to lie in it, they would just hover over the ground. And then the top one, you would need to be able to kind of like hoist yourself up a bit into.
Okay. So did Farron go to the top or the bottom one?
I'm in a top hammock.
Okay. I'm going to sleep in the bottom one, and I'm going to kind of like poke your back from the bottom bunk and be like, did you get my sapphire?
Can I just like, were there any sapphires? Were in among the gems that were in the pouch?
Oh yeah, there were quite a few.
Yeah, I kind of like still pretending to sleep. My hand like drops down like it's hanging off the edge of the bed, but like kind of towards Miliette. And in my hand, there's like 3 sapphires.
I like pretend to yawn with my arms out, and I grab them.
All right. Sounds good. Easy enough. There isn't really anyone else here other than Nia, Nisha, and 2 other crew members who are kind of more interested in themselves. They're kind of just off in their own la la land, essentially, as they're trying to sleep.
Yeah, I think after all that, I'm going to, admire them privately, and then tuck them away, and then genuinely go to sleep.
Okay. Nia, are you sleeping, or...
Did I kind of catch the weird... If I was awake, would I have caught that, like, kind of weird exchange they just had?
Make a perception check.
16.
Yeah, you would have caught it. You don't know what Farron like passed to Celine, but you know there was something going on there.
Am I pretty close to both of them in terms of like the hammocks that we picked? I think we were all pretty close together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you guys are all situated pretty close. I'd say you're probably about about 4 or 5 feet from like beside where Farron and Celine are.
Okay. I kind of like look over and like whisper, but like loud enough for they can hear me. Like, what have you got? What do you got? What did you do?
Nothing at all. It's just bedtime. Have a lovely sleep, Nia. We'll chat tomorrow.
Go, and I look at Farron.
I kind of like squint out of the corner of my eye, and then I reach into my bag and fumble around and like pull out like an emerald and just kind of like quickly looking to make sure that the other 2 crew members are looking, like underhand it over to Nia.
Okay. Yeah, they're not paying attention to you guys at all.
As I like catch it, I just go, "Did you steal this?"
Whatever are you talking
Silence.
about?
No comment. No response.
Yeah, literally nothing.
Got it. And then Nia just like tucks the emerald in her pocket and goes to sleep.
All right. Perfect. Okay. So, Nisha, are you heading to sleep, or are you still gonna be up a little bit?
I feel like as the night started to creep in, Nisha feels a bit of anxiety knowing that she's going to have to face a trial soon after getting to her homeland. So she would have claimed a top bunk and then just been laying there kind of like staring at the ceiling till sleep found her.
Okay, sounds good. So eventually all of you do find sleep and are easily kept asleep as the gentle rocking of the ship kind of lulls you. Solene, your dream comes to you once again.
Which one?
The one of you waking up to Nia screaming and running across the hall.
Okay. I'm gonna chase her. I'm not gonna let her get away. I'm gonna, chase her.
Okay. So, as Nia disappears and your reflection comes face to face with you, she just looks at you, this time silent, unlike any other time before. She's just watching.
Solene?
What are you doing?
Oh, I am trying to sleep? Are you also named Solene?
Well, I am you.
But not quite?
I'm not sure what you are referring to.
Are we of two minds in one body?
Not necessarily. But if that's how you want to look at it, then I suppose that could be one way to describe it.
Then what?
Think of me as more your conscience.
And what direction does this moral compass point?
You should already know.
I really should.
We've already failed once before.
Failed at what?
Failed at keeping her safe, like we had promised ourselves so long ago.
Is Nia dead?
No. No, she is not dead. She should be.
But should as in you would be pleased if she was dead, or should be because we pulled a grand rescue at the last minute?
Should be because it was her duty. And yet, you all stand here alive because of her, despite leading her to her doom. Interesting how events turn like that.
So you want her dead?
I wouldn't say want, but I have to look at and weigh all options. And quite frankly, one death would save, well, the world.
So you want light to triumph?
Yes, that is how it's supposed to be.
At least that's good to know. But you are much more eager to cut throat, so to speak, to achieve that end.
Seek the records in the capital once you are done here, and you might find some very interesting information.
Do you remember everything? Is it just my conscience that doesn't remember anything? But you, as a separate entity within my mind, knows all of our history?
No, nothing like that. You remember. You just don't want to remember.
What?
And she smiles at you and disappears. And you are left in darkness again.
I'm gonna, be having a very fitful sleep. A tossing and turning kind of sleep.
Alright, so, despite that, you guys all sleep through the night for the most part, wake up to screaming. There is quite a bit going on. Suddenly the crew is jolting out of bed, whoever is asleep, and dashing upstairs. You hear footsteps crashing every which way above deck, and you hear someone scream, "Pirates!" And that is where we are going to end tonight.